Okay, so we're going to go today to chapter 9, verse 18 of Bereshit, chapter 9, verse 18. And the verse tells us, Vayihu b'nei Noach hayotzim min hateva, Shem v'Cham v'Yafet. The children of Noach who left the ark were Shem, Cham, and Yafet. And Cham is the father of Canaan. So it seems unusual. Right there is an unusual verse. Why is it telling us who Cham is the father of? What about Shem and Yafet? That's highly unusual. So it says Rashi, why does it need to tell us that Cham is the father of Canaan? Rashi told us right from the beginning, because the passage is going to get involved with the drunkenness of Noach. Noach gets drunk and problems happen. And what happened was, Shekilko ba Cham. As a consequence, Cham, in this passage, disgraced himself. As a result of this, because Cham acted in a disgraceful manner, Noah cursed Cham's son, who was Canaan. We still don't yet know the children of Cham. So we didn't know yet that Canaan was his son. Meaning to say, Canaan is going to get cursed, but we don't know. In the story, the Torah hasn't given us his lineage, so the Torah fills in the details here at the beginning. Jeffrey, this is the book I found in Ben Mintz's library, your brother's book.
It's a great book.
Well, it was only 1995 when it was sold.
Yeah, it's Frankfurter and
his brother was Brandeis.
He votes for Brandeis.
But here's a question about what Rashi said.
Yeah.
So forgive me if it's a basic question, but it says in the Sefaria, right? It says, since the generations of Ham have not been mentioned, we wouldn't know that Canaan was his son. So we have to kind of portion.
Right.
But aren't there a ton of other places in the Torah where somebody does something and we're not told anything about it at the time? We just find out later on, oh, their descendants were so and so.
No, but the curse was because he was the son of Ham. He cursed Canaan because of Ham's wrongdoing. Hey, Eitan, how's your workout? Because I'm expecting a full 2-minute plank tomorrow morning with no whining.
It's on. We're starting 18. I understand what you're saying. I guess what I'm.
It's relevant to the story.
But isn't this inconsistent with there is no general practice of telling people that somebody's descendants.
This is the only time where we see that there is a curse on a son because of the actions of the father. So it needs to be told that Ham was the father of Canaan, or else we wouldn't understand why the curse is being placed on Canaan. Arur Canaan Eved Lamo. Noah curses Canaan as part of the story, and so therefore, since he curses Canaan, we need to know who Canaan is. So that's what needs to be told in the beginning.
What did he do to deserve the cut? Sons can't be responsible.
Okay, so that's what we're gonna have to see in the story. What did he do? But Ben, you follow that?
I think I do. I mean, I'm sorry because I don't have another example, a counterexample at hand.
There is no. There is.
Okay, well, I will take your word for it.
Okay.
I mean, it's a basic principle that sons can't be responsible for the sins of their father.
Right. So we'll see what's going on here. So we're in chapter Eitan, we're in chapter 9, verse 18. Chapter 9, verse 18. Hold on 1 second. Okay, fine, perfect.
Okay, you have an answer.
Well, we'll see what they say. We're going to read it carefully. That's why we study. Vayachal Noach ish Adama. Wait. Shlosha elu b'nei Noach. These are the 3 sons of Noach. Ume'elu naftzah kol haaretz. And from these 3 people, the whole world spread out. Vayachal Noach ish ha'adama. And so Noach, who was a man of the land, vayachal. What does the word vayachal mean? Rashi says, asatz mochuin. He made himself profane. He should have done something else. Should have planted figs, etrogs, so he could make an etrog tree, wheat. But right away, he plants a grapevine. He needs a drink. He needs a l'chaim. So Rashi says that this was vayachel. It was he debased himself. He lowered himself by going to plant the grapevines. That's the first thing he did. He opened up a bar. That's the first thing you did. You could do a different business. I mean, you're allowed to open up a bar, but that's the first thing you do with your life is open up a bar. So that's what he says. Isha Dama.
Rabbi, I just wanted to give him the benefit, or I don't even know what it's called, but it's not in the Talmud. I don't remember who says it, but basically in Hebrew today the expression is shikor kelot, drunken as Lot, even though Noach was the first drunk, because Lot drank the second night, even though he might have known the consequences of the first night. Noach didn't drink after this, so just to give him that extra credit that he's not considered the most drunken, or anyway.
I'm not sitting here I'm just explaining the Rashi. Rashi's explaining the word vayachal. I'm not sitting here to punch a beaten man. I mean, if we want to find excuses or justifications, how about the fact that he saw a Holocaust of the whole world? I mean, there's a lot of defenses we could do for Noach. Yeah, sure he drank, but what he did was when he drank, hold on, I just want to make sure.
There's a footnote here that said he wasn't drinking. It was because he planted a grape tree.
Well, he drinks. That's pretty clear. He gets drunk. It says vayishkar, he get drunk. It's the next verse. The next verse says he vayesh min hayayin, he drank from the wine. It's very clear he drank. But I mean, he had a hard life. Every single person he knew outside of his family was killed. He saw all of humanity killed. He spoke with God, and he saw a God that kills everyone. And so talk about survivor's guilt. So sure he drank. Was it any wonder that he wanted to get out of this world? I mean, you know, like you talk about people going through Auschwitz. This is Auschwitz times a billion. I mean, literally, the whole world was Auschwitz. So he was receded into a space. He had a sanctuary. Haha, lucky me. It's like he's the only one with the COVID vaccine, watching everybody else die. You know, it's like that's no blessing to Noach. So yeah, I mean, so he comes out, but he goes out, and God told him to build an ark. God never told him to plant a vineyard. So
you're saying God made a mistake?
I didn't say God made a mistake. Where did I say God made a mistake? Where did I say that?
It's understandable why he planted the.
I'm saying that if you were looking for defenses of Noach, you would say I didn't say God made a mistake. I never said that.
Sorry.
I do wonder though about, I mean, he should have occupied, from the footnote in the Safari, since he should have occupied himself first with planting something different.
That's what Rashi says.
So, and, does that mean that there is some kind of, we think planting a vineyard is a bad thing just intrinsically? Or is it just the order of things? It should have been carrots first?
The Mizrahi says it means he debased himself by planting something whose effects can be harmful before planting anything else. He should have gone first for the broccoli, and then for it's okay to have l'chaim, but first you got to eat healthy food.
Not supposed to be a merciful God.
So, well, look what happens. He didn't get punished for that. He didn't get punished for that. He just debased himself. Like if you get drunk, the punishment is that you look like a fool. So he debased himself. That's how Rashi reads it. Unkos is more neutral. Unkos means, as in, the word vayachal can also be he set out. So Unkos says it means vayachal, he began, and the man of the earth, and he planted a vineyard. It's not necessarily derogatory or negative implications.
Okay.
So So then the verse says, Vayesh min hayayin, vayishgar b'toch ha'oel. Oh wait, vayita karam. He planted a vineyard. So that's another question. How did he have the seeds? So Rashi says, Kishenichnas lateva, when he entered into the ark, hichnas imo zemoros. He brought with him twigs of grapevines, michure te'anim, and shoots of fig trees. He planted a vineyard with all the features, and he was accustomed to plant fig trees next to the vineyards. But the interesting thing is that he planned. He planned by bringing the grapes. Hey, how are we doing, my friend? May God bless you. So he brought the grape seeds into the ark. Why did he do that? He knew he was going to want to drink when all this was over. So Vayesh min hayayin, or maybe he knew he would want to use the wine for sacramental purposes. My father told me, I'm going to stop the recording here now. So in chapter 9, verse 21, Vayesh min hayayin vayishkar, and he drank from the wine and he became drunk. See, that was for you, Jeffrey. Vayesh min hayayin vayishkar vayitgal b'tocho ha'oel, and he became uncovered in the tent. He became uncovered in the tent. What was he doing in the tent?
Right.
So Ahalak, it was written as if it were read, Oh Halah, meaning to say, Remez la Seret Shavatim Shenikru al Shem Shomron. It's a hint to the 10 tribes who are called by the name Samaria. Shenikres Ahala, which is term called Ohala. Shegalu al Iske Yayin, Shenemar Hoshotim b'Mizrike Yayin. The 10 tribes lived in Samaria, which was sometimes called Ahala in the scripture, and they were exiled because of the sins that they did with wine. Hold on. What were the sins that they did with wine? They used to drink their wine and throw their cups at each other in Amos chapter 6, verse 6. So
It says here that he said they drink wine in bowls. That's in the
well, it
story.
says they drink hashotim b'mizrikei yayin. They drink in mizrikei, can be like basins of wine, or it could be the flingings of wine. Rashi and Amos says that it refers to the practice of drunks who throw their cups at each other. Yes, that's what was their practice. They used to
Mizrak
throw-
in Truma, sorry, Tetzave is the utensil for using for libation in on the altar. So it's just larger vessels that you don't usually drink out of a bottle, right? You drink out of a cup or something like that. So Mizrakei Yain would be like the larger utensil that you're using to drink, as if you're
Right. So yeah, it seems that way, but Rashi translates it as not as that utensil, but as a zorek, like to throw. That's what is mizrake from zorek, like they're throwing the wine at each other.
that's how you would libate.
To sprinkle it on. Yeah, like you toss. Very good, Rabbi Yosef. Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. The first Rashi says something about the Heath piled form.
Where do you see that?
First it says, and he uncovered himself.
Right, go. Yeah, we didn't get up to that.
Oh,
Lashon vayit pa'el. It's an expression of reflexive. You might have thought that it means Rashi's saying we usually skip these Rashis because Rashi's grammar is not always consistent with my current understandings of grammar. So we usually skip those Rashis, but he's saying it's reflexive. He uncovered himself. That's what he's saying. His style. There's 7 binyanim.
It's a very common French verb form, right? Like I call myself je m'appelle, there's
No, well, there's a binyanim. There's 7 binyanim in all the different conjugations. So Rashi is saying that this comes from the reflexive of Vayitbaal, he uncovered himself. Okay, so now is where we're going to get very confusing. Vayar Cham avi Canaan et ervat aviv. Cham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father. Vayaged l'shnei achav bachutz, and he told his brothers outside. By the way, why does it have to tell us he went into the tent? Why do we care where he is? Why do we care where he is? Some have suggested that this was an attempt by Noah to go back into the Garden of Eden, or to go into like the Mishkan. The Mishkan is called the Ohel Moed. So some have suggested that this was an attempt to go to like use the alcohol to go to like a spiritual place. The tent represents a sanctuary. Or maybe he's going back into the womb. He's going into his own ark. He was kicked out of the ark, but now he wants to go back into an ark. He can't deal with the world. He can't deal with life. Life is too hard. That's what seems to be going on. Vayar Cham, so Cham, who was Noah's son, and he was the father of Canaan. Now we're going to see why again. He saw Ervat Aviv. He saw the nakedness of his father. And he told both of his brothers outside. So it can't be that his father was just lying there naked, that was the whole issue. That can't be, because you can imagine that people, that they've seen each other naked before. I mean, it wasn't like there was a Nordstrom on the corner where they went shopping, for clothing. You would assume that they had limited clothing.
Limited privacy on the ark.
For sure. I mean, but we have to understand that when he says he sees his nakedness, it means something more than that. And especially, just jump ahead, it says Noach woke up from his wine and he knew what his son had done to him. How would he know if all he had done to him was see him naked? How would Noach know? How would you know what people see to you when that he laughed at him? How would you know? So this is what's motivating Rashi, that it has to be more than just seeing him. Also, the nakedness can mean when somebody's drunk and they, you see them drunk, you can lose a lot of respect for them. I'll never forget, in yeshiva, when I was in yeshiva on Purim, the Rebbe, I was shocked when I was in Israel, and I was shocked that the Rebbes got so drunk, and they were doing it for pure purposes, but nevertheless, when I saw them drunk, looking like a total fool, I can never look at that rabbi the same. I'm like, that he had fallen down a notch in my eyes at that moment, just because having seen him that way. He was like on a pedestal for me before, and so maybe Noach saw his father's nakedness and he told his brothers. But Rashi's going to tell us it means something very, very different. Yeah, Jerry.
Something very different. Maybe the son masturbated his father.
Well, Rashi's going to go in a similar direction. You'll see what Rashi says. Rashi says, Yeshmi Rabosenu Omrim. There are some say, Tanan Ra v'higid la'aviv kachus karal davar v'nis kalel. Like, what did Canaan do wrong? Why was Canaan cursed? Jeffrey was saying, how could you curse Canaan? What did he do wrong? It's not fair. So Rashi tells us, some of our rabbis say that Canaan saw, that Canaan was the one who started all this, because he saw this and he told his father Ham, and that's why he is cursed. Otherwise, hello, Ira. So that's what they're saying. That Canaan was not innocent. Canaan was not innocent according to this. That he saw this and he told. But now's where it gets tricky. It says he saw the nakedness of his father. Now here's again, Rashi says, Yeshmi Rabosenu Omrim. sarso, v'yesh omrim revo. This is similar to what Jerry was saying. Some say he didn't see him. Rashi says there's two possibilities. Because the Gemara tells us that Noach woke up and he saw what his son had done to him. It means he didn't act on him. It was not just a passive, oh, I saw him naked. He did something to him. So one possibility is that he castrated him. And another possibility is that he had intercourse with him. So this is the idea. These are the two ideas that Rashi cites, because just seeing wouldn't be sufficient. Everybody follow this? You with me? You follow this? Eli, you had a question?
Yeah, what doesn't the Torah just say like what happened? And so like saying
Yeah,
it's probably different.
You see,
That's like a little like indecent, but like if the Torah is supposed to be the truth, like it's gotta record events as they happen, yeah.
yeah, so that's a very good question that we could ask basically on every verse in the Torah. So, or in really any book that's studied. You know, like when the people write the PhDs on Shakespeare, why didn't Shakespeare just say this? Lahavdil, to make 1,000,001 distinctions. I mean, I guess there are a few answers to that. The simplest answer is the Torah probably thought it was being clear, and sometimes the Torah speaks in euphemism. But this could have been a word for that. Another explanation is the Torah sometimes tries to write in a way that allows for multiple readings. But yeah, why was the Torah? The Torah could have been more explicit, but it wasn't.
Can I just throw
Yeah.
one more piece of evidence for that? Sort of maybe the plain meaning is all that's there. Which is, I mean, look, obviously what Rashi says is very ingenious and thought provoking.
It's a Talmud, 778.
Okay, so
He's saying the Talmud, yeah.
with obviously great respect for that interpretation, in verse 23, it says when Shem and Japheth go in, they covered their father's nakedness and they turned the other way, so they did not see their father's nakedness. So the very fact of his nakedness, this idea of the modesty, okay, I understand they were living in the ark together, maybe between men it wasn't such a big deal. But I was visited a university in the Middle East where there was a male American instructor who had some kind of conflict with a female student, and she reported him because she said that he had instructing her about like using the keyboard for some scientific thing. He had touched her hand. Now that's touching, it's not looking. But I guess my point is that this is, and that's also between men and women. But in
It could be that, no,
just pure modesty.
it could be that that's the just the simple reading is just literally that he saw him. It's possible, but it's not necessarily that simple reading doesn't solve all the textual issues. Like the curse is so severe. The curse is so severe. What did Noach realize when he woke up? How could he have realized that they had laughed at him when he woke up, and what was done to him? I mean, it's not a case where the simple reading is so clear and the midrash comes from left field. The text really demands more of the story. And also, the way they walk in now can also easily be read, like if you've seen I don't even want to use the word because it's so painful. If a person is sexually assaulted and they're lying there in their shame, which they feel, they don't want more people to see them. They want anonymity. They don't want other people to know about it. So you want to, like act in a way that preserves his modesty. You want to act in a way that preserves his modesty. So that could be what's going on. But let's look at the verse 23. Vayikach Shem. Oh, we're gonna have to do this verse tomorrow because it's 6:00. It's a very, very interesting topic, obviously, and we'll get to more of it tomorrow. But for now, let us daven mincha.
I just wanted to add that in Vayikra 20 verse 17, it says,
Yeah.
"V'hu ra'a et ervata," That's obviously
Yeah.
not just the sight.
Right, seeing the nakedness in Leviticus means the sexual intercourse. So, yeah, very good point, Rabbi Yosef, as usual.
I agree, it's French, it's